Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri 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 Ram, Jai Ram, जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय राम
Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Hari Om, Hari Om. Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. Pranam, pranam to everybody. Pranam, pranam, pranam.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaskaram.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Pranams. So we were going through the 40 boats. Srirangam were over, no? 6. Rameshwaram over, correct. Madurai is also over. Chidambaram. In each board, there are so many points to dwell upon. It is not a doubt, it is to clear. If we take it that we are on a journey from a journey by which we have forgotten our original reality, the essence of our, not only the personality, a sense of everything. In between, something is blocking. We are trying to get cleared of this. We will not bring big words, Everything is happening only by His will. We are not aware that He is behind everything. We have faith in the words of our Master who says everything is happening only by His will. He is not an entity. He is the power, subtle and mysterious power. At the moment it is expressing through words, through some movements of the body. But the movement of the body or the sound suddenly forgets about the source from which it is drawing the inspiration and then functions independently, functions as if it is independent. So we are trying to, the sense of individuality, though understood intellectually, all these things, there are still some curtains are there, veils are there. So through these satsang, we are trying to remove that. But not by hearing it can be removed. Hearing should be followed by intense reflection and contemplation. Here, no external help can help us. It has to be handled. Now, let us say, for at least talking purpose or understanding purpose, that only two are there. Me, the sense of individuality, and He, the power behind it. So if at all the me wants to become aware of it, it has only to communicate with the He in us. Pooja Swamiji used to say in one of his satsangs, it has also been printed, we should always know that there is only we and He. No other entity, no other person is there. The sense of individuality and the power because of which the sense of individuality functions. So Bhagavan and Bhakta, only these two are there, and the Bhakta intellectually realizes it is because of Bhagavan's grace the Bhakta is existing, but it forgets. During Ramnam with the right perspective, during satsang with the necessary contemplation, during our activities with an idea of dedication, when we do that, when we try to do that, Bhakta and Bhagavan, that feeling is always there. But at some point, unknowingly, the Bhagavan is forgotten. Bhakta assumes the role that he is independent of Bhagavan. This is the stage through which probably all of us are passing through. Huh?
We are being made to go through that stage of forgetting it.
For reasons known to him. We cannot rationalize the reason. All that we can plead is enough. Enough of this. I must be blessed with that realization. And we can take it up with him in the way in which we want. There is no protocol, there is no fixed form. in whatever form, in whatever method. Form means method. So Chidambaram, let us see what is there. We will again come back to all these.
So,
He-
sorry. Essentially, there is only one.
Essentially, there is only one.
The power and the instrument.
Power and the instrument. That is why Narayana Guru the other day we were quoting, Niyallo Srishtiyam Srishtavayadam Srishtijalavum Srishtikkulla Samagriyayadam. You are the creation, you are the creator, you are the created, you are the instrument to create. So during our contemplation or reflection, we try to bring this. When we are on the field, probably we might not be able to remember it because of our old habits. But every now and then, suppose we retire and then repeat these words. You are the creation, you are the creator, you are the created. Okay. And you are the instrument for creation. Varieties, Created means create. So many things are there. Srishti Jalavu. And that is also easily understandable when we look at the tree here. How from a seed coconut, how it has sprouted, and now the seed coconut does not seem to have any similarity between its structure or its characteristic to the roots, the stem, the branches, the leaf, the flower, the fruit. Probably at the fruit level we may be able to see that. And we know that the fruit has come in this. We know that again that fruit can become a seed coconut. So initially it sheds its form, and finally in the fruition it comes back to its state again to propagate. Niyallo Srishtiyam Srishtavayadam Srishtijalavum Srishtikkulla Samagriyayadam. So these are some of the words they have given us in a not at all complicated way, but it can never be understood literally. Everyone should plumb deep and find out the cause, find out the reality in the creation itself. In Papa's case, the advantage was this reflection and contemplation was going along with chanting. Unknowingly, we have separated this chanting from this contemplative approach. So it goes on. But in Papa's case, how he was able to get this in 2 years' time, according to his own revelation, it is because the chanting was going simultaneously with this. So he is chanting the power of chanting the name. He is chanting the name with the power of the power. That he was very clear right from the beginning. So to him, the struggle ended in 2 years' time. Major struggle. Afterwards, only small struggles. The major hurdles, he was able to come out of it. That's what he says in the statement. Side by side. Insert a upon, right? I have it here, but I don't want to go back. His path was often paved with hurdles, but with no grumbling or mumbling. No. It is here. His path was often paved with hurdles, but with no grumbling or mumbling he went on, embracing every situation cheerfully. At unexpected corners, he found the generous providence of God. He did as exactly he was prompted to. At the same time, whenever things did not happen as expected, he took even the non-fulfillment as his will and wish. This is the biggest point. Fulfillment and non-fulfillment. J.K. used to say choiceless awareness. Choiceless awareness. So the duality is not there, no. Ma Anandamayi, Sri Anandamayi, same thing. You can realize the truth only when you are in a position to accept everything as they are. That will come only because when we know that everything happens only by His will, then who is there to choose? If we try to understand these words from the individual standpoint, we will not be able to. Because it is not practically possible for an individual to have a choiceless approach. Accepting everything as ordained by that power. No? We can see that in Chidambaram also. No? In Chidambaram, when you go through that episode, he went there, at noon, the train steamed into Chidambaram station. Ramdas stepped out to the platform. He was now without a guide. Ram had made him a child without plans, without any thought of the next moment, but with his mind ever fixed in the one thought of Ram. He found some pilgrims proceeding toward the city and followed them. At midday, he reached the precincts of the temple at Chidambaram. He went up straight to the entrance of the temple, but could not gain admission as none was allowed to get in without the payment of 4 annas, the entrance fee. He was without a single pie, which however he did not at all regret. See? He wandered for a time amidst the ruins surrounding the temple, and after bathing in one of the many tanks, seated himself on a long stone in the sun, in a secluded portion of the ruins. It was now at about 1 o'clock. No, nothing he has eaten. Ramdas, who was all the while absorbed in the Ram Japa, opened a small bundle of books. Taking out the Bhagavad Gita, commenced reading it. He had not pursued half a dozen verses when he found a stout Tamilian coming towards him and taking a seat beside him. Maharaj, may I know if you have taken any food for the day? No, replied Ramdas, but Ram provides. No fear so far. No thought of it, you remind me, friend. Plantains, can you tell me what kind of food you take? Plantains, if you please, Ramdas rejoined. At once the friend got up and disappeared, and in a short time returned with a dozen plantains, and laying them in front of Ramdas, pressed him to eat. O Ram, thy ways are wonderful. The repast over, the Tamilian who was sent by Ram himself to look after the wants of his humble devotee, next asked Ramdas to follow him. At the entrance of the temple, he paid 8 annas, the entrance fee for both, took him inside the temple. After the darshan of the idols, he showed him the whole interior of the temple. One rarity here is The roof of the central building of the temple is covered with sheets of gold. The guide furnished by Ram was very kind to him. There was that night puja in the temple in a grand style, and also a procession attended by thousands. When all this was over, it was past midnight. The Tamilian friend secured for Ramdas a place for spending the night. Here he made Ramdas understand that he was only a pilgrim come here to attend the night's puja and procession from a neighboring town, and that he intended to return by the early morning train, and that he was much blessed by Ramdas' society for ever so short a time. Ramdas' heart was too full of words. Ram's kindness was indescribable. So his path was often paved with hurdles, but with no grumbling or mumbling. How was he able to reach this state? That is the question. We don't want to keep on reading. So here Papa says, Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the Divine Mantram, side by side with concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even after his advent into the world as a mendicant. That means before he left Mangalore. That was because the Nama, it was not merely Nama chanting. Yes, we should know that. Nama chanting just because somebody said no. Somehow he was blessed with this. Even the Nama chanting is done by him.
So side by side chanting and side by side contemplation. It itself tells that it was not a mechanical chant.
Correct. That is the beauty. His father, who was then in Udupi, as soon as he heard this news about his son, he ran down to see him. He looked at Ramdas and understood him. Ramdas was seen repeating Ramnam always. He had lost all interest in the world. The father asked, "Son, what are you doing?" This is very important. Ramdas replied, "God is making me repeat Ram Ram." God is making me repeat. So even when he says side by side, this can come only when this goes on side by side. Repeating is going on. That God is making me to repeat. That's why he said this. Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the Divine Mantram, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. So in our case, we started chanting Ramnam.
To attain peace.
Without making an effort to know that he is making us to chant. Because the moment when he said later that you should chant with the feeling that he is making you to chant, we are moving closer to him. Otherwise, we are chanting the name of one who is far away from us. Those two words, first of all, you should know you are chanting the name of one who is within you and who is making you to chant. Very important word, though they look innocent. Just like he said, God is making me to repeat Ramnam. So his path was often paved with hurdles, but with no grumbling or mumbling. He went on, embracing every situation cheerfully. At unexpected corners, he found the generous providence of God. Somebody who is not in Chidambaram, he had come there to attend some program there, but suddenly he was drawn by Papa, and then he facilitates everything for Papa to have a blissful stay there. At unexpected quarters, he found the generous providence of God. He did as exactly he was prompted to. At the same time, whenever things did not happen as expected, he took even the non-fulfillment as his will and wish. He was prompted to go to the entrance. He was denied the entrance. He did not plead, I don't have money, I am a wandering mendicant. Nothing like that, no. Please allow me to go in. No. What a stage. Unimaginable. And he said, in one of his quotations, he says, life must flow spontaneously like a river. Whatever act you do will, in this condition, be utterly divine. Don't have any misgivings or doubts. Push on until the great truth within you reveals itself in all its glory through every part of your being. Physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually. Life must flow spontaneously like a river. Whatever act you do will in this condition be utterly divine. Don't have any misgivings or doubts. Push on until the great truth within you reveals itself in all its glory through every part of your being. So in a way, this is called sadhana now. Push on until the great truth within you reveals itself in all its glory through every part of your being. It must flow spontaneously. As the river flows, there are stumbling blocks. Instead of grumbling and complaining, it takes a different route, Flow goes on, no?
It is irreversible.
Huh?
Whatever happens is irreversible.
So 8 boats we have seen. Let us have a quick recap, from the 4th. We heard the inner voice of God, then bidding farewell to a world for which he had lost all attraction, in which he could find nothing to call his own. And then in the Srirangam, renunciation. What is renunciation? It was like being lifted by the divine from the narrow pond of a worldly life and thrown into the extensive ocean of a universal life. Individual life to universal life. And then in Rameshwaram, hurdles did not hold him back. He managed to find something positive always. Where others found prickly thorns, he saw fragrant roses. And in Madurai, he found every carved stone, but behind every carved stone and beneath every masterpiece, he found the signature of his master. The signature of the master means it's a flowery word, but the master prompting him to bring it out, prompting the instrument, the person who have brought it out. Every towering structure showed him the splendorous glory of the Creator.
Signature will be unique to that person. So his creation is unique to the Lord.
One more aspect is there. Normally, as devotees, we try to limit the God thought to temples, deities, rituals, and disciplines like bhajans, puja. But here, recognizing all as forms, he was also recognizing in everything, from a crude rock, granite, how all these things have come out. The rock is also brought by him, human being is also brought by him, prompting is given to that, and he makes the hand to work to chisel, to bring out the beautiful forms, and for that he makes him to apply excellence, precision, single pointedness, focused, right concept. Everything is a synonym to God. That would be a better word, not attribute. Everything is a synonym. Excellence is synonym. Dexterity is synonym. Commitment is synonym. So it is not that we are trying to bring God as separate, Previously, nowadays also it must be there. Previously, when we were all working, suppose the manager or boss says, you write like this, or when we dictate to the stenographers, or the boss may give us the guidance as to what should be written, and finally he signs it, Actually, a letter, when it is received from a customer or the department, it is, suppose we have to handle it, will be marked to us. And suppose we find our own explanation, we go and discuss with him, then he said, no, that is not the matter they are referring to, this is the thing we are. Then finally he says, yes, you reply. And when he replies, when ultimately he gives us the guidance to reply, finally it is signed by him. The signature is the one which owns, not us, Because he represents the company, the signatory. So the signature authenticates. That is why here it is said, behind every carved stone and beneath every masterpiece, he found the signature of his master. Nobody else. So 4 points from Mangalore to Madurai. Can we repeat? There could be many points, at least these 4 points. Again we will repeat. Mangalore, he heard the inner voice of God. At 5 o'clock in the morning, he left Mangalore by train by bidding farewell to a world for which he had lost all attraction and in which he could find nothing to call his own. Body, mind, soul, all were laid at the feet of God. From Mangalore to Srirangam, he renounced all that he was holding, including his name. Sannyas was like being lifted by the divine from the narrow pond of a worldly life or an individual life and thrown into the extensive ocean of a universal life. From the individual to the universal. That was Srirangam. And then Madurai. He saw many wonders of art and architecture. But behind every carved stone and beneath every masterpiece, he found the signature of his master. Every towering structure showed him the splendorous glory of the Creator. And then finally to Chidambaram. At unexpected quarters, his path was often paved with hurdles, but with no grumbling or mumbling. He went on, embracing every situation cheerfully. At unexpected corners, he found the generous providence of God. He did as exactly he was prompted to. At the same time, whenever things did not happen as expected, he took even the non-fulfillment as his will, as God's will and God's wish. So these are the 4 we have technically gone through, literally gone through, that's all. So what are the points, Huh? Yeah?
He gives
He had no
Ramesh.
possessions. Ramesh.
Meditation and contemplation should go together in life.
Contemplation and meditation should go together in
when we are
sadhaka's life.
chanting, simultaneously concentrated with.
Okay. என்ன சொன்னேன் மறந்துட்டேன் எனக்கு.
Rameshwaram.
ராமேஸ்வரம்
Reduce the positions. That is what it is.
Possessions.
Reduce the positions.
अच्छा अच्छा परिमिति परिग्रहम अल्वा limited possession. That itself, we have to keep on thinking. When we have too many possessions, our mind space is occupied by every possession. So we cannot be without possession. So we can try to bring it down to the barest minimum.
Swamiji, in Srirangam, there is no holding back. He even left his name. Everything, total surrender.
That will be possible only when we try to identify everything at a higher level. the individual level, from the individual level, when the prompting comes strongly to that power, it is the individual sense that limits us. From the limited to the unlimited, if we have to go, we should know that he is there behind it. So not to get stuck with any of these limitations.
Whether this will work out.
So name also is a limitation. Because when we are called our name, we look at it, no? So unless and until we know that it is given to us only for the sake of Vyavahar, just like when we pass out the IAS or IPS, the individual is there, along with him there is an added one, IPS or IP. So the individual is there always. So many things when we take PhD, everything, it's all added. But the basic thing is, he is there, that person is there. Kindly think about it. We have forgotten.
With the power of the power. You are studying the power with the power.
Every time we have been asked now, through these 4 places, to think about him. Otherwise, we will not be able to bring out these values. That not only think about him, to know that he is behind everything. In one place he says, explanation, not he, as his one and only guide and guardian led him further. One and only guide and guardian. He saw many wonders of art. So he is guiding us at every moment, even now. He prompted us to feel that in 2022, devotees are prompted to celebrate the sannyas centenary. And then he prompted, sannyas centenary means to go deep into the why and how this had happened 100 years back, which we named it as in-depth study of inquest of God. So he gave us this prompting to take an in-depth study of his first book. And in that, chapter by chapter, an effort he prompted us to take to find out the pearls lying dormant there. And then later on, as a part of the centenary, he prompted somebody to bring out this in 40 boats, where a small explanation and his own words. It was all over. After nearly a year now, he says, due to various vyavaharas you have forgotten, take it up. Again, don't just read and go. Try to understand something from everything. Every board means every chapter here. Only the caption of the chapter is different, that's all. So behind everything, even this very act, he is prompting. For Vyavahara's sake, we can say we are reading, we are taking the portion. All those things we can say. But at the subconscious level, this should be there, this reality should be there. That is the message he gives us throughout this chapter. Every act is in quest of God. Every thought is in quest of God. Every word spoken is in quest of God.
You talking, we listening is
Everything towards questioning. So that we don't have to feel a separate dimension called God. Think about it. So the four chapter. Yes, what are the other dimension 4? Every now and then we will go and try to recap, because otherwise it will fade. We will not remember. So Mangalore, when he started this journey,
Inner voice.
Inner voice.
Inner voice of God.
Inner voice, correct.
Body, mind, soul.
The whole thing prompting came because of the inner voice, when he was crying, when he was pleading, the cry was heard. And from the great void, where is relief, where is rest? That was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard. And from the great void came the voice, despair not, trust me, thou shalt be free. Inner voice. So we cannot go beyond that. How is it possible to get an inner voice? To us, practically only we are here. Inner voice of, we always think another person's voice, Because according to us, or another creature's voice. Because when we say we hear voice, there is subject and object there. So with that knowledge, when we try to understand, we cannot understand anything at all. Because the inner voice is something totally different. It is purely an intuitive experience, revelation.
Inner voice is a conscience.
It can't be explained. We can't explain how it is. Only because of when the mind becomes pure. Pure means mind becomes free from the me and mine. Every thought that comes is coming from him. So one clue Papa gives is, when with utter helplessness, that means my puny intellect, mind, body cannot do beyond this. That is what is called helplessness. Utter helplessness. So the sense of individuality pleads its inability not to move an inch further. At that time, he gets this inner voice. Even the trace of that individuality should not be there, because it knows its hollowness, its limitations. I cannot move an inch forward. What am I to do? Think. And the moment he heard this, it was like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for very life in the stormy waves of the raging sea. That means he was able to hold it back. He is within me. He is guiding me. He is protecting me. He is leading me. So that feeling, that experience. So that we can say that when he said that the inner voice he heard, at that moment the revelation in some form it has come to him. What we are doing is to understand it through our intellect. It is not experience. In his case, it was an experience, because the guidance came from within, and he was the recipient. So direct experience of the truth that he is within. And then he was prompted to get it stabilized through reflection, meditation, contemplation, and to direct all the thoughts inward, Nama. Pujya Papa Swami Ramdas's endless struggles in his mundane life, resulting in utter helplessness, led his advent into the world as a mendicant. He heard the inner voice of God. It was like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for very life in the stormy waves of the raging sea. On 27th December 22 at 5 o'clock in the morning, he left Mangalore by train, by bidding farewell to a world for which he had lost all attraction, in which he could find nothing to call his own. Body, mind, soul, all were laid at the feet of God. So now I think it's clear, today it's very clear to everybody that through inner voice, what he meant was the revelation of his presence inside. He knew he was the indwelling reality because he was not hearing it from outside. Nobody else was there. He heard that voice, so he knew it was coming from him only. So probably we can take it as the first revelation of his existence within. And when he was blessed with this experience, he wanted to get it stabilized. For that, Ramnam helped him, and contemplation and meditation.
So when he heard that inner voice, he did not doubt it. He didn't
Because
no confirmation
Yeah.
needed from outside.
that was the voice of Ram, you see. And the Ram means subtle and mysterious power. So some more clarity on the inner voice today, no? The first symptom of his realizing the indwelling reality. Which was the outcome of utter helplessness. That means the sense of individuality, arrogating individuality, arrogating on its own limited capacity, refusing to accept any other power. Yes. When that is shed, he was able to hear. Until such time, nobody will be able to hear. That is another message. We are trying to hear, retaining all this, In that particular, he says, a seeker's likes and dislikes, favors and prejudices set up a thick wall on his path. He should fling himself into the infinite life. Lock, stock and barrel, Shedding everything. Pooja Swamiji said, in one of his memoirs, last memoir, that we should go to our real home as naked as we came back, as we started.
ಇದು ಒಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕ ತೆಗೆದಿದ್ದು ಪಟ್ಟಾಕ chapter for chapter.
No. Very, very nice, very nice. He is leading us. At the moment, we are not in a position to hear the inner voice because the mind is crowding with its own voice. Gandhiji also says on the same line,
Omnipotent Lord surely responds when our aspiration is intense. Omnipotent Lord, Papa's cry was intense, no Swamiji. He was helpless, so the Lord has responded. Lord responds.
That is right. We are also praying, So we are trying to understand what sort of, because retaining all our impression about our capacity, we are not help. We don't feel we are utterly helpless. We still feel we can do things, Varanam, Vandhudan.
There was a very important revelation because the whole thing centers around the thick wall and back section. Swamiji, in a way, we are not letting him in at all. We are not letting him in. He is knocking, but we are not opening it.
We are trying to find out. Gandhiji speaks about the inner voice, anahata. At times he is not behaving well. So there also he says, when somebody asks whether it is your own voice you are repeating, and Gandhiji with all his innocence says, even if the whole world says it is not inner voice, nothing can shake my faith, because I have heard it. It's a direct experience, direct revelation. So that was how, in Papa's case, he had no doubt to clarify. He had no doubt at all that it was directly coming from him. That revelation was the first step towards his entire spiritual journey. And the next struggle was only to retain it. And he also makes us to know that this can become a reality only when there is total, utter helplessness. That we feel the body, mind, intellect, or the situations outside cannot help me to tide over this. When I am 100% convinced of of this utter helplessness, then only this will become subservient. Lie down so that we hear the voice from him. And let us not think that it is only reserved for Mahatmas. You and I have been getting this. We acknowledge also for a try. It also struck, you will see. Just remembering you are there. But we always take the credit of that also to us. That is the only thing. When you sit back and find out, then you know, no, you had no role in it. Then you have started hearing his voice. When you know you have no role in it, it is not a dialogue between you and others. It is between a dialogue between you and the power there, indwelling power. We have to do a lot of contemplation. Then only we will be able to capture this word, inner voice. Yes. Today probably he wants that we should contemplate upon this particular aspect.
Again, we have not proceeded
Beyond inner voice. First chapter. Beyond first chapter we cannot go because it contains everything. Our sadhana is to feel. He has given us for a certain purpose to work out his will in the outer world. To know him, we have to do some other method. We are trying to use the same equipment to know him, which cannot do anything. He has given us a body, mind, intellect. We are not 100% right in using the word he, but that is the only way we can connect. The power, the indwelling reality, the power, gave this sense of individuality in the form of BMI, body, mind, intellect, to work out its will through this equipment, which fact we are not aware. So we assumed that we are the absolute and started functioning. He gives us a long rope. When during the kicks and knocks we get, we don't feel utter helplessness. We at times feel helplessness. We plead, we pray, we get something, but we take credit. Outwardly we may say, Papa helped us, but honestly we don't feel. Because if we have felt, we have heard, we have experienced his presence, next moment we will not arrogate. So helplessness, every time he is making us to realize this. That is why he gives these kicks and knocks, ups and downs, and he makes us to pray in whatever way you feel like. And when he sends you, in Papa's case, in Gandhiji's case, they were able to know that it is not coming from the sense of individuality, but it is coming directly from him. And there starts the foundation. We are trying to see how the house can be built, We should try to go to the foundation first. Papa built the whole foundation of his life from this particular aspect. First chapter. A few words in the first chapter, first para. This has been brought out. That is enough for us. Enough guidance we can draw from it. So during our communion with Him, we place before Him. Beyond, you gave us the sense of individuality. We never knew that it has got some limits. Now we realize it has got some limits. That we can overthrow that limit only when we know that you are with me and you are guiding me. Then there won't be any limits, no hurdles. Please make us aware. Please think over this. Tomorrow we'll meet. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Today is a birthday.
Namaskar, Namaskar. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam. Hari Om, Namaskar, Namaskar. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Pranams to
Pranam.
Pranams to
Hari Om.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.